a good day to come film me.
5.
Birthday.
1.
Feeling good.
2, 3, 4, 5. 2 more. 1, 2.
Let's do it. So when you see these cheekbones, that means I'm in shape. Wait till you see my glutes. Stupid. Normally I train alone. Probably wondering why I got 2 training partners now. You ever watch the mile, the Olympics? I always got one guy that runs out fast. That's the pace. Eventually one of these guys will drop off. We just don't know which one it is. That person we call the rabbit. The other one we call a tiger. He's trying to hang in there. He's hungry. We'll find out who's the rabbit, who's the tiger. We already know who the king is. Let's go.
5. 1.
Nothing to say. Actions speak louder than words in here. Quiet like a church. That's all here. Well, it's my birthday, September 9th. Everybody knows over the last 8 years, I've spent every one of my birthdays training for the only contest in the world that matters to me most. That's the Mr. Olympia. This is the contest. This contest is the reason why I started bodybuilding. I mean, when I started training, I wanted to one day compete in the biggest contest in the world. When I played football, I wanted to play in the Super Bowl. When I played basketball, I thought I was playing for the NBA Finals. And, you know, whenever I got in a fight at school, I always thought this is the heavyweight championship of the world. This is why I bodybuild, for this one moment in time on September 21st in Chicago. And it seems that every year there's controversy surrounding my placement. One year I'm second in the world by comparison to somebody that's 50 pounds heavier and 5 inches taller. And the next minute I'm getting 4th in the world, 3rd behind, or 3 places behind guys that are just bigger than me. The only criteria for which they place ahead of me is size and size alone. I'm a little bit disillusioned with the judging procedure. I'm sure a lot of the fans are too. I get letters every day and read articles every day about people being frustrated with the current trend in bodybuilding, in that they've gotten away from what bodybuilding is all about. Bodybuilding is about building muscle and size, there's no question. but to the exclusion of symmetry, proportion, definition, presentation, and all the things that they say they judge on isn't fair. And I seem to be coming up short on all scorecards when you take in the other factors besides just enormous mass. Right now in 1996, the flavor of the year is mass. And I think that when you look at the Mr. Olympia contest and you start going down the weights of the bodybuilders, 274 with Jurassic Paul Dillette, 255 with Dorian Yates, 4-time Mr. Olympia, 253 with Kevin Levrone, and 264 with Nasser El Somebody. That all sounds impressive. But when you start breaking it down and analyzing bodybuilding for what it's supposed to be, the shape, the symmetry, the genetics, the balance, the pleasing tone of the skin, the color of the skin, the tie-ins on the muscles, it's really hard for me to understand how some of these guys are winning contests and placing in places that I don't think they deserve. But I know the answer and I know why. And for that reason, I've become one of the more controversial bodybuilders. People ask me my opinion and I tell them what I believe or what I think. And in doing so, sometimes I get crucified for it. But I sleep well at nights. My placements sometimes, I think, hurt me because of some things I've said. But if you ask me a question, I tell you the truth. You can like me or hate me. That's not my goal, trying to make friends when I'm on the stage at the Mr. Olympia. My goal is to just do the best that I can do. But when you're penalized with prejudice and bias and politics, it makes it harder and harder every year to get back up on that stage in front of the same judges and put it all on the line. I train just as hard as 4-time Mr. Olympia does, and yet he says I don't respect him. In 1994, he came on stage with a torn bicep and a bloated stomach and a lot of missing detail that Mr. Olympia should have, or what he displayed in 93. And because I went on record and said that a guy that's incomplete with a torn muscle shouldn't be the ideal embodiment of Mr. Olympia. He shouldn't have been Mr. Olympia, and he still won the contest. He thought I was disrespecting him. I wasn't disrespecting Dorian Yates. I said what everybody else wanted to say. I said what everybody else saw. When I said that my friend, my good friend, and sometimes the closest guy I know in bodybuilding, Flex Wheeler, I said he had calf implants. People asked me about Flex's calves when he came on my bodybuilding show, my Flex magazine workout. He said, does Flex Wheeler have fake calves? I saw with my own eyes the night and day difference in Flex Wheeler's calves, and I said, yeah, I believe he has calf implants. That doesn't make him my enemy. That doesn't mean I don't like the guy, but if you ask me my opinion, I say it. If I offended Flex, Flex should have turned it around and took it as a compliment. And he's mature enough to understand what I was saying. I mean, because his calves improved so dramatically that everybody was noticing, not just me. I just happened to be the one that said it. And so when the magazines got wind of this, they tried to make a big ordeal out of it. And people said, how could you do that to your friend? Look, there's rules that all of us as professionals have to live by. And if one guy can break the rules by virtue of politics or a contract or because of a vested interest in his career, then that's not right. If I suffer by the rules, then everybody else that breaks the rules should suffer equally. So when I said Flex Wheeler had calf implants and the IFBB did little or nothing about it, and the question was raised, suddenly they tried to make a conflict between me and Flex Wheeler. That wasn't personal. That was an observation that not only myself, but photographers that have shot him over the years, journalists who are more knowledgeable about bodybuilding, and even some judges made the same comments, but mine were the ones that were inflamed to infuriate people and try to make enemies with me and Flex. Me and Flex are good friends. I still believe he has calf implants. That's my opinion. In regards to Dorian Yates saying that I was being disrespectful when he had came in the contest clearly off with a torn bicep and a bloated stomach, I wasn't disrespecting him. I was making an observation that everybody in the audience could see, that we have video footage and photos to back up, and yet he still won the contest. I don't know why he took that personal. He's the first one to tell you he was off, he was incomplete. So that if they're going to reward somebody that comes in off and incomplete with only one arm, then that tells you there's something wrong with the system, not something wrong with me because I pointed it out. I didn't disrespect Dorian Yates. I don't even know the man. I could care less what Dorian Yates does or his opinion of me. He's taking food off of my table. When I get on that stage, he's the enemy. He's the one I'm trying to knock out. He is the one supposedly that the judges are saying is setting the standard. I'm not trying to look like Dorian. I'm trying to look the best that Shawn can look, which hopefully in turn will defeat whoever has the title. But when I say what I say about the champion's got to understand that comes with the territory. I'm a challenger. I've never got first place in the Mr. Olympia. So everything that I strive for is to break down what the champion does not have. If the champion does not have a midsection, it's my job to point it out. Obviously the judges aren't seeing it. If the champion has only one bicep, it's my job as a competitor to say, hey, he has a torn bicep. Does that count for anything? It's my job as a challenger to say, look, the guy's got an enormous back, but what about his shoulders? What about his thigh separation? What about the bloated stomach? I mean, I'm not knocking Dorian. That comes with the territory. If I was a champion, they would be saying that about me. He's short, he's narrow, he's this or he's that. If the champion can't handle being a champion, then maybe he shouldn't be a champion. I'm just trying to point these things that are obvious out to the judges and to the fans that ask me my opinion. Dorian right now has the title, and I'm trying to take it away. So I've got to pay attention to the things that Dorian does not have. It's obvious that he's got great calves and a phenomenal back. After that, I'm not really impressed. I'm not trying to make friends, I'm just telling you how it is. My opinion is that when Flex Wheeler is on, he is Mr. Olympia. Flex Wheeler as a bodybuilder, as a physical specimen, as a person, is perfection when in shape. I'm the first one to say it. I'd be happy to lose to somebody with that kind of genetic gift, with that kind of structure, with that kind of body. I think there's a whole lot of people that would aspire to look like Flex Wheeler when Flex Wheeler is on, than there are people aspiring to look like our current Mr. Olympia. And with the judging going the way that it is, it definitely bodes well in favor of Nasser El Somebody, who by virtue of just size alone is a threat to Dorian. Except that Nasser doesn't have structure, he doesn't have tie-ins, and he doesn't have the detail that someone like a Flex Wheeler or myself has. So I have a problem with that. When you start taking in the big picture, you can start picking some of the guys apart. Same with Jurassic Paul. Paul Dillette's an enormous bodybuilder and a freak of nature. Standing there, he should win the Mr. Olympia. But the contest is more than just standing on stage and dwarfing the competition. Somewhere down the line, you've got to flex those muscles. You've got to be able to display them in a professional manner, in a competitive, combative manner against the guys that are trying to compete for the title. You can't just go up there, stand there, and say, that's it, end of show. But it seems that the judges are getting more and more impressed with the guy that walks on stage at almost 300 pounds and stands there and blows their mind than they are with somebody who flexes their muscles, and you can see cross striations in their quadriceps, separation in their triceps, a Christmas tree, intercostals from another planet, symmetry and tie-ins, and posing presentation that's second to none. I mean, that's the completeness of what Mr. Olympia has always represented to me. So if I sound angry or if I sound bitter, I'm not angry and I'm not bitter. Frustrated with the current state and the current judging system they have, yes. That frustration for me turns into power. It fuels each and every one of my workouts. That's why every year, whether I take it on the chin or not, I get up and I come back. And I don't think every year I should be Mr. Olympia, but every year I think I should have the opportunity to be compared with and fight with Mr. Olympia. As it stands now, nobody really gets compared with Mr. Olympia. Mr. Olympia doesn't have to earn his title. All the athletes, and you can take a survey, go into that contest saying they hope they get second place. Why? Because politically, they believe they cannot win the show. Automatically, they're defeated. They can't win the show because the system will not allow for a fair contest. And this is the problem that a lot of the bodybuilders have.
Hit it anyway?
Yeah.
Alright.
Beautiful. Perfect.
Looks good.
We make umbrellas like that.
Boom. Ready. Yeah. That's all.
Beautiful.
I'm telling you, for being a week and a half out, I never felt like I was already ready. I always felt there was some small adjustments I needed to do. But right now, confidence-wise, I don't think any of the big guys are as hard or separated as I am. So with a week and a half to go, all things being equal, I'll be better than I am now. So I just hope I get judged fairly. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, it doesn't matter. As long as they judge me fairly, I'll feel like I did my job.